Five in three, two, one. Take it away.
Hello and welcome to Glitch Point. So not a lot happening, which is surprising. And you know what? I think I know why nothing's happening this week.
I got some
It's
ideas. What do you think?
well, I think it's because Cyberpunk was supposed to release and everybody cleared out for this.
Yeah, I think that we're like, yeah, it's. I think it's especially dead week because it's the week before the consoles, so like we're not gonna get any real news about them. We know all we need to know.
Yeah.
It's election week next week during an election year, so there's like a lot of news just around that. And then yeah, everyone was like, "Oh, Cyberpunk's releasing. No one do anything," and it didn't happen.
Well, there are more games that cleared out in December too.
Yeah,
Who was it?
it was Path of Exile
Oh,
or
Everspace.
oh yeah,
Also, Everspace 2 cleared out of December, and so it's like everybody's doing exactly what they probably already planned to do for November, but now in December. So,
yeah.
um,
And I mean,
yeah,
we're a week away from the big Call of Duty release, which I think that is now, other than Destiny, which you could argue that's a release. I mean, it's an expansion, so like it's a little different. But those are the two big things happening in November. I don't know much of anything else coming out this year other than Cyberpunk in December.
yeah. I feel like Destiny news is very much like World of Warcraft news now. It's like
Exactly.
unless you're in it, you really don't give a shit.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to be like, guys, Destiny's coming out. If you don't play it, you're like,
Yeah.
that's great.
Mm.
I mean, I guess there's all the PlayStation 5 games that are releasing because they actually have launch titles unlike Xbox. But
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I was gonna say, but it's just yeah, not a lot going on. I think yeah, we'll know a lot after the launch of the consoles, and I think that'll take a lot of people's attention, even though there's not going to be that many launch titles per console. But because it seems like everything on both sides is getting delayed.
yeah,
Uh, so who knows?
something that did
But
come out this morning, speaking of launch titles, was the Godfall looter shooter action game from Epic Games that's exclusive to PS5 and PC. Um, we're starting to see PC requirements are starting to jump up for minimum. So the minimum specs for this game on PC is a 1060 with 6 gigabytes of RAM, 12 gigs of total RAM, and then a Ryzen 5 or an Intel i5.
for minimum, wow,
Minimum, you need a
yeah, that's
1060. So I think we're very quickly starting to see developers go, cool, new consoles are out. You got to start beefing up if you want to be on PC. Which, I
yeah.
mean, the thing that really jumps out to me is this is an Unreal Engine game. So, like, I would understand this if this was from, like, a custom engine team or, like, a smaller team, but this is Epic Games with Unreal saying, like, no, you need a 1060. That's pretty beefy.
Well, I mean, I guess it also allows you to develop primarily for the new consoles when you port, right? So it's like
Yeah.
you don't have to deal with if you're just saying like this is the way it's going to be. We're yeah, exactly what you said. I mean, I'm sure it's just ease of use for the development team to
Yeah.
set the
Minimum specs are always going to start going up. It's just, yeah, I mean, this is the start. So, and that's a pretty good leap.
yeah,
But I don't know, the
yeah.
1060's how old now? Like three,
I don't
four
know,
years old?
yeah, something like that.
So,
Um, yeah, but I mean, as things get faster, and yeah, it is a console generation, but I think that everyone's kind of fed up with carrying these old consoles along with them and having to make all these extra ports, and like downgrading their development,
yeah, I mean,
just dragging their feet basically.
there was complaints about this generation's hardware the day it launched of it just didn't feel like it was going to be powerful enough. So, yeah, I don't blame developers for just wanting to move on.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, what was I gonna say? Oh, yeah, I like that. I read that the Cyberpunk was the reason they delayed. I read in an article was just to get for the newer consoles to make them more polished for I guess in graphics. I suppose it seemed that way when I read the articles that it was more
Interesting.
polished in graphics because that's what the delay was about. Was they just felt like it didn't meet their standards on the newer consoles.
Well, yeah, I remember a couple months back when they announced that Cyberpunk was going to be one of the they were like the first game to announce they were going to be a part of the Xbox Smart Delivery, which was you buy the game once, and then when we're ready to upgrade it to the new consoles, you get that version for free. But then they said you won't, if you buy the game, like we're not going to have an upgraded version for the new consoles at launch. So now I'm wondering, does that mean we get one at launch?
I think so. I mean, that's what I think this delay is about, and I honestly think it's because of what happened to Halo and just the backlash. And I just feel like, maybe from the um, people of the, what is it, CD Projekt? It's the parent company.
Yeah.
So I don't know, the higher ups. That's what it sounded like because no one really knew what was going on. But the higher ups were like, we need to make sure that this is flawless for the current consoles and not what you said, and doling
Oh
it out
yeah.
like.
Oh yeah, I'm seeing the articles. So
Yeah.
I had a feeling that was why, because yeah, these old consoles are, well,
Well, honestly, I think that Halo got a really unfair backlash. I mean,
I think so too.
I can't even, and it's funny because I have an article with Square Enix in front of me, but I'm going to say this because I am so tired of graphics being the most important element of a game and sacrificing gameplay. Because if it's fun, I don't give a rat's ass if it looks like last year's graphics. I'd rather have the mechanics work. You
Yeah,
know?
Halo's just an odd case because like when you look at the graphics and like people kept complaining that it looked like the lighting kind of sucked and all these other things, which all of the things that people were complaining about usually are the last things you're doing to your game. Like that's when like performance is there, so it's like okay, how do we make the game look as good as possible? And like a lot of people were like posting pictures like, hey, look how much better it would look if you guys just like made the shadows a little tougher. And it's like that's what post production is about, and that's why the game was at that point what 8 or 5 months away. But
Yeah, but
I
if
feel
you're
like
showing off,
yeah,
you're
but I feel like
showing off a
Microsoft
video.
knows that. So I'm wondering what else is causing issues for the development of Halo because recently they lost another creative director,
Yeah, I saw that.
which at this late in the game, I don't think is a huge blow to the game. I think there's way too much set in stone for that to be like a detrimental thing. I think it's just
Yeah, and it sounds like
it's
he stayed
weird.
in within internal to Microsoft and is going to do other projects.
Yeah, it sounds like he's
So,
just a higher up executive at Microsoft now, which is for career goals that makes sense. And he probably just looks at the game and there's nothing much he can do. I mean, the
but
other
it
thing is I don't
sounds,
know how far Halo is done because if the graphics are the main thing that they're trying to fix right now, that's not the whole team. Like what are the designers doing? The people doing like cinematic those parts of the game are done,
but it sounds like you're
assumably.
saying, and you're kind of hinging on the fact that this is a political move,
What?
because there was backlash. They used a delay to kind of say, "Hey, we're going to take care of it,
Oh, no, oh
whether
yeah.
they
See, I'm
needed to or not." It's like,
Yeah, see,
is it?
I get that's what I'm like wondering is if is the delay really just about the graphics or was there maybe more? And I don't know. There's a
Because
lot
maybe
of
they
debate.
showed it off not really, as you said, they showed it off at a state that wasn't fully polished, but it was going to be polished, and they just thought the community would understand,
Yeah.
but they didn't, and then they used this delay as some sort of political backstep to say, hey, we're going to take care of it, we're taking care of it.
Yeah, the other thing is like there was a lot of rumors about like whether or not they were going to release it in its entirety or if they were going to release maybe the multiplayer first.
Yeah.
And then there was the issue of they confirmed like 2 years ago that the game would have multiplayer flighting and like beta testing, but then that never really happened. So it's just really weird. I guess just the game in its entirety was just not ready, which sucks. But
I just don't, I don't want this piecemeal multiplayer campaigns coming into, I mean, are we ever going to get Last of Us multiplayer? Is that ever really going to happen?
yeah, I feel
You know?
like no. But
I mean that's what I feel like will happen. They made their money, and they're just gonna say, well, you know what, who cares, and move on, and then we won't get it. And it's like, well, could have been fun.
yeah, no, I think that they're gonna release it. It's also we really don't know exactly why. Like when they say it's Halo Infinite and that we're not gonna be getting a new Halo release, they're gonna like update it where like new campaigns will come out for Halo Infinite. So like that which kind of lended itself to the whole maybe we're not going to get all of the game at once, which Halo 5 that was a huge problem with Halo 5 was the game was like it felt like it wasn't done, and half the things were missing that were in Halo 4 day one. So
Yeah, and Halo doesn't really do DLC very well.
no, it's always just been map packs.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's always multiplayer. They've never DLC. Actually, most shooters don't DLC the campaign experience, where it's a lot of games do. So I don't know what the difference is and
Yeah,
why
like
they couldn't
there were a couple
implement that kind
highlight
of.
games. I mean, Borderlands has always the big open world
Yeah,
games
that's
tend to
true.
always have them, but like the single player
Like COD's never
linear
done it,
ones,
and
yeah, they
yeah,
had
single player linear
zombies.
ones. But that did that have
But
a campaign
I mean, you could
zombies?
argue like there's a little story there, but it's definitely not what we're talking about, like a narrative production
Yeah,
type of thing. Which I mean, Doom just had, which was very interesting, and Bioshock used to do. Um, and
yeah. I mean,
I
I
think
don't know.
Doom's having a pretty good time with it. I know at Doom 2016, I think they only had a multiplayer one, but I don't know if it was paid for.
I guess it's where your team, the majority of your team is settled. Like how many people are on the multiplayer team, and like how I feel like Halo in the end. I know its campaigns are very entertaining, but it's a multiplayer game. I mean, that's what carried. That's what gave it. Most people, if it didn't have the multiplayer, I don't think it would have gone as far. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I think Halo is one of those games where the best Halo games are the ones who have a good 50-50 split. I like Halo 3 is probably the best one because like the multiplayer was fantastic and the campaign was fantastic. It didn't feel like one was significantly better than the other. Where like Call of Duty's always been like, yeah, there's a campaign, but like let's just play the multiplayer. Which I
Well,
mean, for some people Halo is that way, which is fine.
by Halo 3, the multiplayer essence of it was leaking into the campaign. I mean, you could play
Yeah.
the campaign with your friends, and so just it felt very multiplayer-y, and like hopefully that's what it'll continue to be, which I wouldn't imagine why not, since
Yeah,
it's
I mean
been that
that
way.
I think that was something that maybe Marty O'Donnell or someone at Bungie was claiming about Halo 3, which they took into Reach, and then obviously they took into Destiny, which is they liked the idea where all of the features of the game fed into each other. Like the multiplayer fed
Yeah,
into the campaign, and the theater fed into the campaign, but also the multiplayer. And I think that Halo went away from that with Halo 5 a lot.
yeah.
So hopefully they go back to it.
Well, I mean, maybe it's just because they're trying to keep their own identity with Destiny, and a lot of these things, a lot of these ideas that stemmed from Halo originally now have moved over to Destiny.
Yeah, I mean Destiny is so interconnected and like all types of activities and features go into the each other. It's
Well, just the idea of a crucible, which is a place you go to, is very World of Warcraft.
yeah.
This, so, and which is what they're trying to be. They're trying to be an MMO, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, I mean, I honestly didn't think the graphics were that bad. I think that yeah, maybe they just shouldn't have shown it off. Maybe they should have waited until closer to release to show off. But I mean, again, if all these things are getting pushed back and good things happen because of it, that's great. You know what? That's going to be a lot better.
Yeah, and I don't think that the Series X is hurting much. Like I think a lot of people thought that without a killer app, which is what they kept saying Halo Infinite was going to be, that it wasn't going to land well. And like yes, the PlayStation 5 does have some launch titles that a lot of people are excited for, but the hype, at least that I'm seeing on social media, or for both consoles, is very high. But I think everybody is definitely agreeing that like, wow, the Series X is really powerful, and like if you're not playing an exclusive game that's only on the PS5, it's gonna play better on the Series X, and a lot of people want it for that reason.
Yeah, yeah, and it definitely. I mean, if you can play you can play all the XCloud games, I guess, which is good. But yeah, I think it'll for whatever TV you have to new TV you have to buy in order
Yeah.
to experience these consoles. Um, yeah, I think the Series X is as good as either. I mean, both of them don't really have launch titles, so it really doesn't matter.
Well, the
Um,
PS5's got a good amount. They've got Demon Souls. They have
which is a game that already exists.
true. I mean, but it's a significant upgrade. It's like the
It
Resident Evil
is,
2 game.
but if you've already
Miles
played it all the way
Morales.
through, yes, which is on multiple consoles, isn't it?
Oh,
I mean, it's
that's
on.
right. That's right. They actually don't. You're right. I forgot about that. That they came out and that a lot of those are on PS4 as well.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's a good point. Bug
I have a
snacks.
friend that yeah, but that's also on multiple
Oh shoot, yeah.
consoles as well. Bug snacks, yeah. Yeah, I mean I had a friend that just asked me because he's like, "Oh, which console should I get?" And I'm like, "It really doesn't matter." And I told him exactly like it really doesn't even matter if you buy them now. You could
Yeah,
buy
it
them after
doesn't.
Christmas, and you'll be fine. You won't even care. I think it's the hype and the excitement that's catching everybody. But in the
Yeah.
end, I mean, there's enough games to play that already exist.
Yeah, I think that like at I think more towards like the June-ish time when we were getting more details on the PS5, my excitement, and we definitely mentioned this on the podcast, was a little higher for the PS5 just because it was a brand new thing. They were taking the whole generational approach, and it just felt like a leap forward where the Xbox felt like a little more gradual. But the closer we get, and I realize how big my backlog is and the games that I'm playing, that they're just gonna like day one work on the Series X, and I'm just gonna see fast load times on my entire backlog.
Yeah, that's
I, I'm
awesome.
I'm getting more excited for the Series X because I can just like it's like an unhitched gaming experience where the PS5 is like okay I have to like get into the new thing, which is exciting.
Well, and
But
also just the upscaling of all the content that yeah. So it's just like it's going to look really good. We've talked about this quite a bit. There's nothing the developers don't have to do anything, and their games will instantly play better and look better,
yeah,
which you're not going to get on the PlayStation 5.
yeah, and I'm really excited because I decided to finally get a QLED TV,
Oh, I
and
thought
that
you got
is
a TV. You didn't get a TV through Amazon
no, I
Prime Day?
did. That's what I
Oh,
said.
okay.
I decided to get one. Yeah,
Oh, did it arrive? You have it?
I did. Yeah, I've been playing. I couple games that I tried on it was Super Lucky's Tale because I'd never had an HDR TV before. I honestly didn't really. The reason I didn't go HDR for a while is I just didn't feel like it was going to be that much better. But boy,
Yeah.
was I fucking wrong. It
Well, a
is.
lot of the early HDR TVs didn't have enough luminous to make a difference. Sorry.
Yeah, and I guess maybe like a lot of game. It did feel like when I was in the market for a TV back then, it was like only a couple games had HDR, and it was like kind of new. But now,
Yeah.
like every game that I'm looking at has HDR, and oh my god, it is such a. I should have got it so long ago.
Oh yeah,
It
but
is
this is
fantastic.
perfect because
Yeah,
the
it's
new
a great
consoles have come
time.
out. It's a great time, but it does kind of suck because if the fact that you kind of feel like you have to get a new TV makes this for a lot of people purchasing hell because
Yeah,
now I mean, it's just another cost that you have to put onto top of everything because it sucks when you said, oh well, I got my new console, but I'm not really seeing it to its highest fidelity.
yeah, it's kind of tough. And I mean, the at least that the consoles for people who don't have like don't upgrade the TV because it's not HDR TVs aren't cheap. Although there's some cheaper models out there.
Yeah.
At least the load times are huge, and I think that's what I'm kind of most excited for is just having multiple games suspended and really fast load times. But now I'm even more excited for the fidelity, and I'm glad that I did it because as someone who's like really into gaming, I feel like I'm getting the most out of that console.
So actually, speaking of load times on Game Pass, because that's mainly where I'm playing most of my games, they're horrendous. They are horrendous.
Wait,
Like
on Game
they
Pass or on XCloud?
well, XCloud,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So when I say Game Pass, I should say Game Pass
Yeah.
XCloud. But yeah, it's and I looked them up. Some of them are like 2 minutes,
Yeah.
2.5 minutes, and I understand it. But do I understand it? Because they should have infinite space, but I think what they're doing is just while they're getting started, they're limiting to the current console that's as a process. So they're probably limiting the amount of hardware that's utilized by that process to what the console is that it was launched on.
Yeah, and the other thing is they right now I don't know if it's every like xCloud client, but like an xCloud server unit is for Xbox One S's, um, which is fine. But I think that they announced that at the end of 2020 or like mid 2021 that they're gonna upgrade xCloud to be using the new Series X hardware, so that you can play new games at like with like HDR and like faster load times. So it should get better, but I mean, I guess you're gonna have slower load times regardless, just because you have the internet. I guess I don't know.
Well,
You're
no,
just kind of
because
streaming a
it's
video.
just streaming video, right? So all the load time's happening
I
on the
mean,
server. I mean,
there's
it should be
de-
lightning fast.
depending on what games you're playing, there's some really bad load times on current gen consoles. It's god awful. You don't notice it until now the new consoles are like having YouTube videos showing how Sea of Thieves loads in like 10 seconds, and you're like, oh, Sea of Thieves usually loads at 2 minutes. This is awful.
Yeah, but here's the thing I don't quite understand is they're not using like Xbox 360 or Xbox Ones as server arrays. Like these are just regular servers. Like I don't really understand. I mean, aren't they able to utilize the high-end hardware that these servers are built with?
Well, I don't, yeah, from my understanding, it is pretty much like a little you're like you get an Xbox One S to play on. Like that is
I
the
mean, it's
tech
a
spec. I'm not
VM or a
sure.
virtual machine probably, but it still probably runs on different hardware than inside. I mean, they're not gonna. Why would they? I mean, you would want to have to be able to switch out the servers fairly fast, and they're probably just based off of the same server farms that anything else, like all their other services, are in. But maybe not. I don't know. I have no idea. But I was very surprised. Or maybe I only thing is maybe they limit it, or they do a virtualization of the older console, so that it limits
Yeah.
it because it's just the amount of people that are using it. They don't want to overflood it with each process taking up too much resources. So I would imagine it's just a software change that they just flip a number and it runs better.
Well, let's see. This article is saying I'll take whatever this says. I don't know exactly what it'll mean, but it says the service is powered by Xbox One S consoles in server blades in Microsoft data centers.
What is that? What is Server Blade?
So yeah, it's just like a little rack that you can
Yeah,
put
rack.
hardware in, and
Okay.
then like attach it to the bigger server. So like yeah, they are literally just like taking Xbox One S's off the assembly line, shoving them in a box, and then saying go, and you just
Okay.
connect to one, and then they're gonna upgrade that to Series X hardware next year.
I guess it makes sense because if like a company fine tunes their code to be, for the hardware that's in the console that they're using, then if you went on a server and it had different hardware, it might
Yeah.
screw things up.
Oh, here
But
we go. So
that's crazy.
another thing is encoding is one of the reasons why it's slower, just because they have to make sure like no one's intercepting the data that's going in and through. And when they do upgrade next year, it's going to include a new video encoder that is 6 times faster than the current one on xCloud servers.
Oh, okay,
So
wow.
yeah, they're definitely got some upgrades in the pipeline, but
But are they like I feel like they're waiting for all these upgrades until after the consoles launch so that the consoles still look appetizing? I don't know. That's just a
yeah,
theory, but
I don't know. I
like
think
you
that
don't want to
just
do too you
internet's
don't
just
want to
not good enough to overtake just
but
having
it's
a
not
hardware.
that's the thing, it's not the internet. It's not the image being ported to you because that's fine. Load times have nothing to do with how the data gets to you.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It literally just has to do with how whatever the hardware is loading in the files or whatever
Yeah.
the data that it needs, which would all be on the server.
Yeah, and I mean, well, maybe I don't know, but it should if they're using up the series. Well, I guess that thing that just said the CPU, so I don't know if they would upgrade the server's hard drives. I would imagine so
But
because
then
some
what is in
games
there
require
now?
the
Like,
SSD.
is it like they're switching from Xbox Xbox X to Xbox Series X, or like I
Yeah, it's like from they're going from the 1S,
oh the one yeah
so
sorry
that the
one I don't
white
know why I
yeah they're
said
going
X
from the
one S.
white box to the new beefy
So the
box.
servers are built with the one S right now. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
which makes sense because
I,
that was the cheapest one to produce.
I'm just surprised you can't do this through virtualization, but maybe you need to be metal in order to keep it fast enough because now you're encoding it for the drivers. You're
I think it
coding the driver
was
data.
Yeah, I think honestly they might have done it because of developers. Like we've talked about before, like developers don't have to do anything to get their game on XCloud. It just works because it's just an Xbox. So I think that
Yeah.
they could have
Okay.
maybe done some custom server hardware to get things better, but then it would have taken like an API change or just some little step for
Yeah.
the developer, which could cause issues. And this way you don't,
I mean, that's really
which
cool.
that's great.
Yeah, that's really cool that that's how they're doing it. I mean,
Yeah,
it's super impressive. That just means that like, because I just figured they already had servers up, but they basically rebuilt servers specifically for this purpose,
yeah,
which is insane. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot more to it, but
yeah. It's that Microsoft wallet for you.
yeah. But it does make sense that they wouldn't want it to be too good right now because it would directly compete with them. But maybe you're right. Maybe they just, will switch it over afterwards to be it.
Yeah.
Xbox Series S's. That is going to be amazing. If it can load as fast as an Xbox Series S, but then be on XCloud, I'm going to be so happy.
Yeah, like if you, especially with like 5G coming out, like we'll be able to just play games so fast everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, not everywhere because 5G is not really everywhere, but
Well,
yeah,
is
tech's
it
gonna
coming
be
to
cool.
Seattle?
Yeah, I have 5G right now. I mean, you have to
There's different
you
types of 5G.
so yeah,
Um,
there's 5G ultra wide. Well, like I think one company, I want to say AT&T, they have a thing called like 5GE,
and
which
it's not
is
really 5G.
not at all 5G. It's just
Yeah,
bullshit.
that's yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
because you
5G is just fifth generation, so I'm sure you can dust it under that rug.
exactly. So like they're like, oh, whatever, but like you have to have a phone with 5G antennas in there, which the only phones that have it now are the brand new Samsung like it's like the S20 Fold 5G FE or something. It's just a complicated name, and then the iPhone 12s.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
there's probably some other Android phones out there that have it.
Well,
So
I know that there's not a Verizon 5G at least because I know Verizon's 5G is supposed to be the legit
yeah, Verizon's
5G.
they have 5G nationwide, which apparently is like they just launched, and then there's 5G ultra wide, which ultra wide is getting like speeds up to like 1500 megs, but that's only in like super specific points, like really high traffic
Yeah.
cities, probably. So probably in Seattle, there's some ultra wide. I'd have to see. I have T-Mobile. They have a 5G nationwide right now, which I get. I guess I don't know. I was not excited for 5G. I just felt like it wasn't really needed right now. It's
Till this
cool,
happened.
but I just don't really. Yeah, and I'm not someone who's gonna probably use XCloud all that much, so it's neat, but I don't really care.
I don't know. I was playing Super Lucky Tail on my phone using the onboard controller.
How was that? How are you liking the game?
Yeah. I want to see if I can beat the game, and it's with the onboard controller. But
Oh damn.
it's out of curiosity because it's still fun. You know, I still enjoy it. But I'm curious to know how people play Fortnite on a controller. And is it that and you it's insane. Like I am so bad. Like I feel like I just picked up a controller again.
Yeah.
And is it because the controller's so bad that it's unusable, or is it because I'm not used to it? And that's what I don't really understand. And I guess I've gotten a little bit better using it, but I mean I don't know if I would be competitive on an online shooter.
I think it's
Good.
a little bit of both. Like I think that we can all agree, developers, consumers, that touch controls majority of the time are not great. And it's always better to have a controller in your hand or a keyboard and mouse. But also, yeah, you're just not familiar with the game, so like but like people get good at games regardless of how bad it is. Like I remember like my younger sister, she played a ton of TF2 on a crappy little Acer laptop that ran at like 20 frames. And she got so good that when she got a computer that ran at 60, it was like insane how much better she got. And I was like, Jesus Christ, we should have got this sooner. But so I'm assuming for kids on Fortnite who play touch controls on an iPad, I feel like if you give them a controller, they would just like leap
Dominate,
forward in
yeah.
skill. Yeah, it would just be unfair.
Yeah. I mean, you do kind of get. I mean, at the beginning, I don't know if you remember the start of the game, but there's like the first time you hit the clock, right, and then you have to get the little multicolored.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first one,
Yeah.
it took me like 6 tries to get the first one because I'm
I
trying to use the controls, and I'm like, oh my god, I
yeah, I
couldn't do it.
can't imagine doing those challenges on the controller. I'm just gonna say right now, good fucking luck, because they don't get easier.
But the
It's
game
not like they're
itself is
hard, but
yeah. No, I can see how they have. I've already like advanced where they're becoming harder and harder. But yeah, it's a great game. I really actually like it. And I've only played a little bit of it. I used I started when I was at my girlfriend's house hanging out at bed. So I was like, she would pass out, and then I would just
it's a
how I would do
good
it.
yeah. That's like my go-to game when I just want to like not think and just like enjoy life for a little bit. It's really happy.
Oh, it's super cute.
Yeah, it is.
I love that. It definitely makes you happy. Yeah, I'm excited to keep playing it because I definitely want to. We can talk about it more as I get through, but yeah, it's bringing back a lot of platforming memories that I used to have that I feel like I haven't had in a while.
Yeah,
Um,
I really miss 3D platformers. We need
like,
more.
yeah, I mean, Crash was good too. So I don't know.
I need to play the new Crash. I do. I've heard
Yeah,
nothing but good things.
it's good. I really liked it. I haven't played it for the last week or so, but I really enjoyed it when I was first playing it, and I like that each different character has their own move set, and makes it really fun. But yeah, Crash is good. This is good. So
I'm
I'm excited.
excited to see about Sackboy. I mean, that's a new 3D platformer, and I know Sackboy's always been. He hasn't had his own game before. He's always just been Little Big Planet. So I'm wondering.
That's released, right? That's a launch title.
Yeah, and that's only on. Oh no, it's on the PS4 too. God damn it. Well, good for them. But I love the developer Sumo Digital. They make, honestly, they make a ton of games. They're like one of the, I think it's called a double A developer, where like they just get contracted out by other people to make games, and then every once in a while they have enough money to make their own game.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that, but I don't know. It's probably not going to be talked about too much because
What are the games that they made?
they made, so the last game that they made by themselves was Snake Pass. I don't know if you played that. It's that 3D platform.
did.
Dude, that game is awesome.
That game was amazing.
Yeah, and then they
It's
made
really hard too.
it really was.
Yep. Yeah.
And then I think they worked with Sega a lot. They made the Team Sonic racing games, the Sonic All Stars racing games.
Oh no.
I think they they finished up Crackdown 3. Because that game went through like 8 different developers, but they were like the final ones to just take it over the damn line and put it out there.
Yeah,
So they're pretty well renowned. They've made a lot of games.
Oh, they did this Hot Shot Racing. This is on xCloud.
Yeah. What else did they do? They worked on Dead Island 2.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I mean they've been around the industry a lot, but
is Sonic Racing good?
Sonic Racing. It's all right. It's not as good as the other ones. Like Sonic All Stars Racing, in my opinion, is better than Mario Kart. It's amazing. I don't know about Transformed is pretty good too, but the very first one, Sonic and Sega All Stars Racing, back in 2010, that was like one of the best, if not the best, kart racer I've ever played.
Are you going beyond Diddy Kong Racing?
Yes.
Really?
I think it's better than Diddy Kong Racing too. Ooh. And Diddy Kong Racing is fucking awesome.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite racing game that they made. I just like it because I like that it's an open world story, and I don't know, it's really good.
Yeah, I mean, Diddy Kong's definitely close second in my head, but I don't know, something about just the way the game plays, the tracks that they had, the music, it was just great. And I think Team Sonic Racing was like, it just felt like a stripped down. It was like the new Mario Party. Like all the other Mario Parties were really great, and then they got really excited, and then the 10 and 9 were really bad. But then the new Super Mario Party, it felt like they just took the cool ones and then stripped it down to like the bare bones and then released it.
Yeah, I mean that's something that I think a lot of people didn't like when it first came out, but I think enjoy now.
I don't know. I don't see many. I want them to make another Super Mario Party and like add more mini games to it and like have more than like 3 maps.
Yeah, I was surprised they didn't DLC the hell out of that.
Yeah, it was I think anybody would have done it. Like everybody would have bought that shit. No matter how much they complained, everyone would have bought it.
Have they DLC'd any other? I mean, Nintendo's not the best at DLC, so.
I mean, I think the Wii U was like the first generation they did it, and they did it to Mario Kart and Smash, and maybe Splatoon.
Smash gets a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So then this gen we have Smash has DLC, and then Mario Kart doesn't have any. They have Zelda DLC.
Oh,
not anymore because they're making the next one. But
wasn't that just like the seed? What are the seeds called? Carrots.
No.
Helped you find them?
they had like 3. They had an update that helped you find them along with other things, and then they had 2 DLCs. One of them was like, I don't want to say an extra dungeon, but it was I don't know. One of them was like an extra challenge thing. I need to keep playing through them, honestly. I don't know much, but they were okay. They weren't huge, but
I'm just surprised. I mean, because I think they would benefit a lot from the DLC platform. I mean, I guess it's kind of nice to know that you have the game and you're done. Like, especially like a Mario game where it's like, oh well, I beat the current Mario game.
I mean, I thought
would it work?
I thought that. I mean, I think everybody agrees that also Mario Odyssey was like, please give us more of this game, and I would have bought DLC for it. But one game that I was expecting a lot of DLC for, and it appears that they're not going the DLC approach, which is Animal Crossing.
Oh, really?
Because Animal Crossing just keeps getting updates. No,
that's not true. They did the swimming.
Yeah, that was free. That was just an update.
Yeah, but freer. Okay.
So when I say DLC, I'm assuming like you pay for it.
But you don't have to.
Well, yeah, because like what Well, I guess I was in my brain. I was saying if a game had DLC, like as in like you pay for it or you don't get it. But with Animal Crossing, there's no like paid DLC. You
It's
just
just downloadable content. I mean, yeah, all I'm
yeah.
saying is something that changes the game that after the game releases, whether you pay
Okay.
for it or not. And I think there are a lot of games that don't do that at all. Although I don't know. Maybe there are. I mean, because I don't think that, yeah, Mario Odyssey did anything, right?
They had one thing with Luigi. I don't remember why. It was like some weird balloon mini game where you could like find Luigi and hide balloons for other people, but that was a free update like a month later and no one
Oh, okay.
cared.
Yeah.
But I yeah, I don't know if they're not doing DLC because they're making another Mario game, which I would be down for too,
Didn't they
or
do that for
what.
3D World also? Like, didn't they add Luigi in late
Yeah, because
in
they
one of those games?
Nintendo
Yeah.
had like the year of Luigi, where like they just took all the games and put Luigi in it and
Yeah.
resold it for more money, which
Yeah,
kudos to them, it
that's cool.
worked.
But I suppose now, like you, and especially now that they're getting into their online platform, where their whatever their new online platform is for streaming, I feel like they're gonna have to kind of play the game the way that other people are playing it,
Yeah,
with DLC and like different content. I don't know.
I mean, at every no one is not asking for more Nintendo shit, and everyone is ready to buy more Nintendo stuff the second it comes out. Like nothing is, I don't know. I guess it's just they really want to make sure it's high quality.
Well, yeah, but it's the only thing they really have in their bag is their IPs,
Yeah, so they really don't
intellectual
want to
property.
fuck them up.
Yeah, yeah, I suppose so. I mean, I don't know. You could say that Amiibos is DLC. Could you say that's DLC?
I I I
I
don't know
guess
if the
it's,
amiibos themselves are DLC, but they can unlock DLC.
but that's already built into the game, so it's there when you buy it. So is that really? It's not really
Well,
downloadable content, but yet you buy the Amiibo, which unlocks something in your game.
yeah. So I guess yes,
I don't know.
maybe. Amiibos are weird. I'm gonna get the Banjo Kazooie one that comes out next year, though. I think that'll be the last amiibo I ever get. I don't have many. I have like two.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it always says like I would rather have more, more things open in the game. Um, I don't know. Are there any like ridiculous things that Amiibos open? Let me look this up.
I'm trying to think, like maybe back in the Wii U, but now it seems like amiibos are just like super minor stuff. Like in Animal Crossing, some amiibos will give you little outfits. I like how
Yes,
Smash
yes.
handles them, where like you can scan your amiibo and then like train your amiibo as like an AI fighter. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
But I don't think Smash you unlock anything from amiibos. Maybe a sticker, but who cares?
yeah. I mean, I don't think they could do a lot because if you don't have it, then I think people would complain on the other side of, hey, this is
Yeah, then it starts getting
there's a
into like
paywall or
Disney Infinity or what was it, Skylanders games,
yeah,
which all died.
yeah. Oh, I think that I saw that, and this is something that I had thought wasn't going to happen. But the new Elder Scrolls is going to be exclusive.
Wait, really?
I didn't say it, but the list of things at the bottom were all Xbox or all Microsoft.
Okay, because I think it was a little bit ago. Todd Howard, the head of Bethesda's games, he said that the Elder Scrolls 6 being an exclusive was quote hard to imagine.
Yeah, but when they released the trailer, it didn't have anything but Microsoft things at the bottom.
Oh, that's normal. That happens.
Is that normal? But that
Yeah,
means
that
so
that
they just haven't
means
decided.
that means usually that means that the team, well, not the team, whoever publishes the trailer has the marketing rights. So like when Call of Duty releases their trailer, it's just gonna have a PlayStation logo on it. If Most of the time it's gonna have just a PlayStation logo on it, but if you find, I mean, because they have the rights to market the game.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So but I always thought that was the release. Like usually they show where what platforms it's gonna be on.
Yeah, usually
Just-
I don't know. There's like no rule of thumb of when it is or isn't. You kind of just have. It's really stupid. You have to look it up all the time.
Yeah.
But I
Okay.
don't think they've announced yet.
I was surprised, and I saw it, and I was like, I don't think they've announced this, and I was like, wait a second, what's going on?
But I mean,
Um,
it is interesting because Todd Howard did say, let's see, this is the exact quote. He said he can't really project where things will be. But if you look at every Elder Scrolls game, there has always been exclusivity to Xbox. Morrowind was basically a console exclusive. Oblivion was a long time exclusive. And
Yeah.
Skyrim's DLC was exclusive, which, I mean, Oblivion and Skyrim was, I believe, was not exclusive to Microsoft because Microsoft did anything other than no one wanted to develop for the PlayStation 3 cell processor. And Bethesda was like really an advocate for, I hate PlayStation 3's architecture. We're not making it for it.
Yeah.
But and then with Fallout 3, no, Fallout 4 had exclusive mods on Xbox for a long time.
Oh, okay.
So it makes sense why Elder Scrolls would be exclusive. At the same time, I understand why people do not want that to happen.
Well, I mean, it just depends how much development has gone for the cross-platform up to this point. But I mean, we don't even know when this game's going to come out. So there's
Yeah, I don't
a
think
very
there's been
easy
any
chance that
development, really.
yeah. Okay.
Because they're still working on that. There's only Bethesda is a big company, but Bethesda Studios, the people who make the Elder Scrolls games, they don't usually work on two games at once. They only are working on the one big at a time, and they are working on Starfield right now, which we
Yeah.
still have no idea what it is at all.
Yeah. Well,
I'd
it
love to
probably
know.
has to do with stars. And a
Probably,
field.
yeah.
Field of stars. Yeah. No, it's interesting because I just don't know where Microsoft is going to put their foot down and kind of try to take control over the community of gamers, and they have the power to do so. That's the thing. Like they with these big acquisitions, it feels like they can kind of sway people in their favor, but are they going to choose not to? Which is odd.
Yeah, I
Unusual.
would
I mean,
love to sit in the meeting where they discuss money because that's what everything's about. And like, I mean, I'm sure this conversation happened when they acquired Minecraft, which was, are we gonna make more money by forcing people onto our platform to buy our game and like getting new consumers in our ecosystem, or are we gonna make more money by selling it on every platform and just taking a cut? And I'm sure that I mean, they're definitely like asking the question of, will we make more money in the long run by getting people to buy a PC, which will have Windows on it, or an Xbox to play this game, or will we make more money if we just put it on the PlayStation and take, I don't know, like the 20? Well, they would just make all of the money from that game.
yeah.
So,
And
yeah, I don't know.
and I think they also want fair competition, continuing on so that they don't get in trouble or have to worry about that in the
Yeah.
future. And that if they make money, everyone makes money, everybody's happy.
Yeah,
You know,
true. And
thing.
Xbox is such
But
an open platform, so
it's just unusual, like I'm just still kind of
it is
shocked
really
because
weird.
I remember the 90s. I still feel like the 90s Microsoft, and this is just not the Microsoft I grew up with.
Yeah, no, they're not at all. It's like a complete. It might as well
Yeah.
just be a different company that's called something else.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, that's what CEOs do. Like when a CEO changes, the whole company should usually change with that CEO. That's their job, is to have vision.
Yeah, of course. Of course. And I'm
But
glad they're doing it. I'm not going to second guess it. They have all the chips, it feels like right now. I mean,
yeah.
they could really wreak havoc if they wanted to. But it seems like they just want a fair field for everybody, so that's fine.
Yeah.
And with this quote of we're not done acquiring companies, I have no idea where they're going with that.
Yeah,
I mean, that is a statement.
who the hell else are you going to get? Jesus Christ.
Oh, I think there's going to be large. I know what they're doing. They're securing their future for streaming platforms.
Yeah.
That's the game. That's the next step. Especially with, I mean, beyond phones, but like AR and like all that stuff's got to be streamed. So,
AR streamed?
Yeah, because if you want to, let's say you have your AR glasses, right, and it creates a virtual TV. If you want to play Xbox games on it, you're not gonna, and you want to run it through your phone, that's got to be streamed.
I guess, yeah.
So, I mean, if they are able to provide you with AR content that's just as good as anything you would get on your TV, that's amazing, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of where everyone, I mean, 10 years down the line, that's what everyone's going to be doing.
Just streaming everything.
Just streaming everything.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. That's what movies have done, and that's what music did, and I don't know other entertainment industries that have gone the way of streaming. But yeah, now I mean we're at the point
Comics.
Yeah, even comics. There's a lot of comic places that are just going to go digital now. I mean, there's a lot of comic book stores that don't even have stores anymore. They're just like a middleman to get you the physical comics, which are dying already.
Yeah. Is there like an in between comic style, like where it's like each cell is like slightly animated?
Oh, oh, an animated comic?
Yeah,
That
so
could
it's
be
like
cool.
it's the in between a still comic and an anime, but
Yeah, it'd
like
be like
it's just like slight animation in each cell. So like as you, I'm sure that's got to exist somewhere. Like
I mean,
that
yeah, we
sounds.
have like Google Photos has what I think they call them motion photos, and Apple has live photos. Where like the photo's a photo, but if you click on it, it gives you like the last 2 and the past 2 seconds of the frame as
Yeah,
like a capture the moment, and you can like pick what frame you want to capture as the title. So that would be really cool if you could just go through like a digital comic and
just touch it, like touch
yeah,
the
like just touch
spots.
it and it'll just start like animating, even
Uh,
slightly, like just like a parallax move, which I feel like is
yeah,
really easily achievable. I don't
I think
know.
it'd be
If
great.
it
I'm
doesn't
sure.
exist, we need to take this podcast down and make a
Yes,
company.
make a comic comedy company.
Yeah. Or to start pitching this idea to Marvel. Let's go patent the technology. That's how you make
Yeah.
money.
Well, I mean, I can't even imagine it being that hard because, as you said, it's built into. I mean, it's basically GIFs, but obviously, I don't know what file format the Apple and other companies use to
All
do
right.
to achieve, but
There we go. They're called they exist and they call
yeah,
motion comics. Yeah, they had to have.
they
It's a
had to.
motion comic and it's not even limited to movement. There's comics that have like voice acting for the panels. Like it's just like,
Oh,
well,
that's awesome.
yeah, it's pretty awesome. I wonder I would definitely The Watchmen has a whole motion comic. I don't know
Oh,
what
that's
else.
that's awesome. Actually, I'm gonna check that out after this episode.
Motion. Can you buy motion books? What's a motion book? Anyways, there's a whole industry that we just stumbled upon.
Yeah. No, and I mean, again, that's just more content for your AR device.
Yeah,
Or
one day we'll look back at these podcasts of us just talking and talking and ranting about AR, and we'll just be like, "We told you so." We'll be like super old,
Well, I
but
mean, how far do you think it's off? Like,
I feel like the everyday consumer, like I'm thinking as like, well, see, phones have AR already, but like super, like we don't even think about it anymore. It's just a part of culture. I would say at least 20 to 30 years.
20, I think 10 years. I mean,
I think in 10 years we're going to be at the point where like it is starting to pick up as like most people are starting to use it all of the time, but like I mean like at the point where like a kid is like, "Well, how did you not do this in the past?" Like now, like music streaming took a while. It's been around for over a decade or so, but like right now if someone's like, "What, you used to buy CD?" Like that's such a
yeah.
weird concept. It's like you don't just stream all your fucking music. What a weirdo. I feel like when we get to that point where like you don't just fucking put your AR glasses on and I don't know what you would do with them, but do AR things. I feel like it's
Yeah.
gonna be like 20 years.
I don't know, dude. I'm
I
honestly
I'm so down
optimistic.
for it to be quicker.
I mean, just because. Okay, let's look at VR. What was VR like? So when they started to do the first, we started to hear talks about the first Oculus.
Yeah,
And that was that had been what 2015
15 or 16
or 16.
or when was the HTC Vive released? Because that was like one of the really
I think it was like 2014. I remember hearing stuff about it, like, oh,
2015.
this is coming.
Oh
Well, yeah, when it was released, but when we start, like, kind of where we are now is nothing's really been released, but there's like a lot of
yeah, dev kits were
talk
sent out
about it.
in 2015
Yeah,
and then
okay.
released in 2016. So yeah, 2014 is probably a good point where like we're just talking about it and hearing rumbles.
So I don't know. That's 5 years, man.
But I mean, I don't.
That's
I mean, VR isn't at the point where it's like, how would you not like? we're still
Yeah, but at
not
least
like
it
it.
exists to a point where we can buy it and use it, and like it's amazing. When
Yeah,
you
but I
use it. I
mean,
mean, there's definitely advancements that need to be take place, but
yeah, I just feel like this year was a big leap because of Half-Life Alyx and Valve kind of like here's a full-fledged game, not just like a smaller version. Like I feel like this is like the start of something, but I don't know how far it's gonna go. Because like a lot of people are saying like Half-Life Alyx kind of is showing how VR can be a significant pillar into gaming and not just kind of like a gimmicky thing.
well, Yeah, and I also yes, I agree because it's actually something that you can stay in, and I think that with the new data transfer stuff that's happening with Wi-Fi, I think that that's going to increase people's excitement, especially for like Valve. I think that they might even consider continually developing past
Yeah.
the Vive or the
I would be very surprised if they're not making a new index.
I'm sorry, Index. Yeah,
Like, I
Vive.
mean, the index is fantastic, and as someone who just fucking bought one, I don't
But
want
there's no.
like a new model to right come out. But I feel like there's work to be done on the FOV.
But I think there's no reason to do it because I literally think they're waiting for that. They're waiting for it to be able to be wireless. I think that they don't want to, put in another or another headset that's not wireless because it just doesn't.
I see what
It
you're
doesn't
saying.
feed well, and so they need that technology to be legit, and then they can use it, and then we'll see. I think we're going to see more from Valve and Index. But right now, Index is still the leading headset. I mean, it's been out for so long, but it still has the best um, screen, and I mean the best technologies in the Index,
Yeah, for sure.
which is crazy. And I mean, the Oculus just came out with their new headset, and it's not even close
Yeah, I mean, it's just VR is a
because it has to
really
be
weird.
wireless.
Yeah, it's a weird industry because like you're definitely at tiers. Like Oculus has pretty much decided they're not going to be the luxury tier. They're going to stick with like budget, which budget for VR is 400 to 600 bucks, but they're kind of okay with being the casual VR thing. And I think Index is really dedicated to we will give you the best thing we could possibly give you at a given time, which is yeah, what you're saying is it's kind of like I don't know if Valve is prioritizing making the headset just better, like better FOV, better res, and all that stuff, or if wireless is their priority. And I think it's got to be one or the
Well,
other right now.
I think the Oculus has chosen wirelessness as being the most important thing because,
Yes.
and just the ability to utilize VR anywhere, which is kind of where, they started that idea. And I think that Valve is seeing that as gaining popularity and also gaining sales. So I think they want to join in that market, but with a premier version of it. And I
Yeah.
think they need that data transfer rate, you
Yeah.
know, uh, so yeah, hopefully I because I'm the same way. I feel like the NS just came out. It's great. I mean, it hasn't even been that long, but I mean, I'm biting at the teeth to get better, wider visuals and no screen door.
Yeah.
Um, I just want to be as everybody else, just as immersed as possible.
Yeah. But I think that wireless should be the first thing that they solve. Like they need to take the current index, everything about it, and just make it all wireless, then move on. Because like I
Yeah,
think the FOV is good enough. They got finger like everything about the index is good enough, other than the wire. Which even then,
I
it's a
don't know. I
single
mean, there's still
wire. The
screen
wire is
door.
pretty
It's
great.
good.
It's the least amount of screen
It
door
could
in all
always
of the
be better.
headsets, though. Yeah, of course it can always be
Of
better.
course, it can always be better, right? I mean,
Yeah,
like if with the second where we cross the threshold is when it is imperceptible from the way you see. Yeah, um, maybe it's animated, and it's cell shit, but that's up to the developer, right? If the developer really wanted to put the time to make it look exactly real, the screen of the console could or the headset could handle it.
yeah, that brings up a good point. Do you think, because like graphics have gone a long ways, and there's some very pretty and realistic looking games, but I feel like more recently games have been well, not more recently, but I feel like we were hitting Uncanny Valley a couple of years ago with some graphics, and now we're going like
Yeah.
more and more things are getting slightly more stylized. Do you think that we're going to try to go back to break through Uncanny Valley just for VR to be imperceptible to the human eye? Or do you
I
think
think
we
there's
can
going to be
might just
certain
stick with
people.
stylized? Yeah?
Well, I mean, we started with stylized because there was a definite way to make a VR game that looked good, and it was that like very um, flat textures,
Mm-hmm.
which it allowed because the technology wasn't there. It allowed for it to feel a little bit more comfortable. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, if I think that someone will take the. I mean, it's also on PC, so you know, I think in the PC realm, we'll definitely see a lot more people trying to get pristine graphics in VR, and I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Half-Life Alyx looked actually really great. Like it was definitely not the highest fidelity
It's,
game, but like
it's still a cartoon. I mean, like the models themselves are still. I mean, I don't know what the polygon count would be, but I wouldn't imagine it being that high.
no, yeah, I think that was like the biggest thing with um the graphics was like yeah, it felt like well, there were some points where the polygon count was like unbelievably high, and I was pretty impressed. Mainly with like the hands, the
Yeah.
gloves that you had, and anything that was like really close to your view, which makes sense. And I know that they did a lot of polygon work for the Source 2 engine. Um,
Well, they had. I don't know what the technology is called, but the one where it's lower res polygons for the outer part of your eye, and then higher res polygons for the eye tracking stuff.
Shit, are you serious? They do that?
Yeah, yeah, for the eye tracking. You remember eye tracking
I
for
don't remember eye tracking.
Yeah, so basically what it did was it tracks your eyes, and then wherever you're looking, it increases the resolution for that place so that and it decreases the resolution away from where you're looking. That way they can render a frame a lot more efficiently
Yeah,
because you're not going to be able to tell one way or the other. I don't know if that. I mean, like I remember it being talked about. I'm pretty sure it was part of the index was able to utilize it
I was gonna say
because
if that's performant, that's badass. That's really smart. I mean, like even with normal human eyes, you only see so much in perfect. Well, yeah, it gets
yeah,
blurry if you're not focused on something. So that's really cool.
yeah. That's I mean that's the whole idea. So it's yeah. I mean because you wouldn't know the difference. But I don't know if they're going to continue with that or are there other like technologies similar to that that can allow for higher efficiency or less polygon count per frame.
Yeah,
So I don't know, but it's cool. It's really cool, and I think it's going to take a lot more less. It's going to be less about how good it looks and more about the utility of it. Sorry,
yeah.
utility of it for to get the main scene or the average person to use it. And I really think that Oculus is hitting that group right now. Um,
Yeah, I think Oculus will be the ones that take VR into the casual space. I mean, there was like casual people using VR with like the ones that you shoved a phone in, but I just that died out really quickly. Um,
which is surprising because our phones are really good now. I actually wanted to try it. I was wondering if I was going to do the cardboard and see if it was any good these days. Because, I mean,
yeah, I
I
don't
tried it
know.
so long ago.
I mean, I think that's just the main problem with that is just all phones are just so different. So like some phones work perfectly in it, some don't, and it just I don't know. But I
Yeah,
think
with the
that Oculus
size.
is gonna yeah, I think Oculus is gonna do something really great with what they're doing, and I don't know if the casual audience of gamers is really looking for VR, but I don't know. I feel like
Yeah, but
AR seems up more up their alley.
the thing is and yes, once AR takes over this, it'll probably take over a lot of these communities. But there's so many businesses that are also tied to VR. Like a good one is real, like going and seeing real estate.
Yeah.
You could do VR walkthroughs and stuff like that. And just like I actually have a friend that does 360-degree videos for different companies. I think that there's a lot of companies that want to utilize this technology. There's just not enough people using it. And I think if you can solve that, it's going to be a tipping point where these companies will be able to reach enough people. They'll make more content. There'll be more average people content like videos and stuff. I mean, I know there's tons of porn, but
There will always be porn. I mean, dude, like, have we gotten? That's a question that I don't know the answer to. Have we gotten to the point where there's augmented reality porn?
no, I mean, I can't imagine that there's maybe, but there's nothing out that's not a dev kit.
I mean, like, I'd have to look, but like, can you? Because like most AR stuff is on the phone, where you just like look through your phone. So I wonder.
But
I
there's
don't
two
know.
different types of AR, right? There's the AR that's immersive AR, and then there's the AR that's like notifications on your face, in your view.
Yeah,
Which I don't. You could do porn notifications.
porn notice.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, knowing the porn industry, they will get there quicker than anyone will expect. So I'm sure
oh,
someone's working right now on augmented, like HoloLens porn.
oh yeah, easy. Having
Easy.
strip dancing behind you. Yeah, I'm sure that's easy.
Easy.
Yeah.
Well, that's a
Anyway.
great place to
Yeah. Let's
stop.
stop with porn. To porn.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening, and the months ahead of us will be much more exciting. Things to come.
Yes.